Uh, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the build or like the add-on changes for Pinhead in Dead by Daylight. So, with the buffed Chatterer's Tooth, you can pick up the box, like make configuration, and you can give yourself undetectable status for the next 25 seconds. And basically, the survivors can't really get the box because you're always picking it up whenever you get the chance, or you can camp the box and stop them from getting it, which makes them waste time on having to get objectives when they think a chain hunt is about to start. So it's an easy mind game with this. And then on top of that, I have the iridescent element configuration, which makes it to where you can see the box at any distance. But for survivors, there's sight reduction. Usually you can see the box from almost anywhere on the map, but for them it's shaved down to 24 meters, so you kind of have to get within range of the box, which makes you waste even more time trying to find the box during the match. So in theory, on top with Chatter's Tooth and the iridescent configuration is a good combo, because one, you can always see the box, two, you can pick it up, three, you know where survivors are if they ever decide to go for it, and four, you can stop them from being able to do it should you have the chance to, because I know sometimes you get into a chase and you can't really stop them from solving the box. But if you can make them, or like kind of corral them into an area of the map where you don't want them to, where you want them to go, into a dead zone kind of, so where there's like little to no pallets, no loops, anything for them to work with, you can herd them into that area of the map while they waste time looking, because they be looking for the box, but they'll never find it because you'll always be picking it up as a killer. And then on top of that, I have Hex Plaything, just to double down on the pseudo stealth part of Pinhead being a stealth killer. So with Hex Plaything, survivors become oblivious to the killer's tear radius, so they can't hear you coming, and I don't think you have a red stain. So it allows you to do gen grabs, it allows you to just sneak up on people, which is where Nurse's Calling also comes in. So if they're in theory healing, they can't hear you coming, which is really good on your part. And on top of that, I noticed that survivors are bringing more and more boon totems. Boon totems are new meta, they're here to stay, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards the hex totem that allow you to create them or do something to create them so that they waste time booning totems. So by the time they've already started booning totems, is usually at the start of a match. It takes about the same time as for a killer to set up, which is about the first maybe 30-40 seconds to find a totem. So once you find their totem, you can snuff it, and 9 times out of 10 they might or might not know that you have, because you, in theory, in the match of Dead by Daylight, you'd have to move around the map in order to play the game. So not all the time will you be able to stay near that boon totem, and you can't unboon a totem once you boon the totem, if that makes sense. So in short, you'd be able to sort of make them waste time, one, booning a totem and leaving that boon totem in that whatever area of a dead zone that they are in. Usually depends on the map and totem spawns too, because totem spawns can be really good or really shit in this game for killer and survivor. But yeah, that's my build. And then on top of that, I have Barbecue Chili, 1 for extra blood points because the artist just came out and I'm trying to get some perks for her, and she's really fun killer. But and I bought the Scourge Hook Gift of Pain to stop them from healing as fast with their boon totems if they ever get, but in this, I don't think in this game they ever got the chance to use them. This wasn't the best team, but it was really good example of what how like a pseudo stealth killer build can dismantle a team's composition, even for solo queue players. And I really enjoyed this build, oddly enough, and I think this will get me to play Pinhead more. But with this build, I don't expect to always have chain hunts active. I mean, you can play a really sick mind game where you can bait the box for survivors to think they're gonna have a chain hunt start, and then, you know, usually by the time the little timer around survivors' names gets towards the end, to where the chain hunts are about to start. Usually there's like 1 or 2 people breaking off from objective of doing gens to go and find the box. But that's where the Chatter's Tooth comes in, because you can pick up the box as the killer by force. And one, you stop the chain hunt from starting, but you also get free information to see where they are where survivors are all the time whenever you pick up the box, and you stop them from doing objectives for like a brief, maybe 10 seconds should they decide to break free from the chains. So during this time, while they have chains on them, they can't do objectives unless they decide to break free, which takes a few seconds to do. So in theory, if instead of Nurse's Call, if I really didn't want to be a dick, I could have brought Ruin. But in theory, you need Ruin maxed out, which isn't coming until the 7.0 update, when you get purple perks by default for all killers, or fully leveled perks rather. So in theory, if you really wanted to, you could replace Nurse's Calling with Ruin. So for the time being, whenever they get pulled off the gens, because you pick up the box and you get the start of the chain hunt, but you don't get the chain hunt, the benefits of the chain hunt rather, you can get free information, you stop them from doing objectives, and you cause regression on any generator that's being worked on in that moment. And if they're healing, they start to fuck up on skill checks because you're having to slow down. And then on top of that, that's where scourge hooks kind of play in, but it's very situational. But for me, I find that a lot of the time it works, and I kind of like this setup, and it's really enjoyable for me. So that's the build. If you want to, you can replace Nurse's Calling and Barbecue with Ruin and Surveillance, just for more extra information, because when you get off a generator while Ruin's active, it's marked as starts regressing, and Surveillance activates for a couple seconds, and then it'll turn like yellow if a survivor starts working on it, so you know which generators are being worked on and where to go, how to patrol the map. And then you can kind of make them waste time doing other things like looking for the box and or trying to find Ruin, because that can be a pain in the ass too if you don't deal with it, especially late game when there's a lot of pressure, which Pinhead is really good at. But yeah, that's the build, and I'm gonna let the rest of this gameplay I'm gonna let the rest of the game play out. And if you enjoy this these type of videos where I like builds I made and I just do a little post commentary over it, explaining the build and like why I like to use it, the alternatives, should you not have the perks that I have, that's cool too, just let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys later. Have a good day.